Welcome to tonight's video report. This is for the Harvard Journal of Hispanic Policy. My name is Cassandra Fradera. I am joined by Lisa García Quiroz, President of the Time Warner Foundation and Senior Vice President, Chief Diversity Officer of Time Warner Inc. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks.
Time Warner has generously supported America Adelante, a forum on Latinos influence in the United States, addressing opportunities and also challenges due to the growing population of Latinos. In your experience professionally cultivating leaders, storytellers, and also your civic participation, how has your experience been attending America Adelante?
Well, today has really been a very invigorating and thought-stimulating day. What we had hoped to create was really an opportunity for Latino leaders to come back to the university, many of whom have graduated from Harvard or have been affiliated with the university, as well as other leaders writ large from throughout the country, and to bring them here to Harvard to spend the day with students at the Kennedy School and actually from a number of the graduate schools across the university, as well as some students from the college. So what we wanted to do was create an opportunity to begin to open a dialogue, to begin to pave the path for what Latino leadership could look like in the 21st century, and especially as these young people go on to graduate with master's or doctoral programs, for them to see that there's a path ahead on how they can contribute to the Latino community.
You're also an alumni of Harvard University, correct?
Yep, I'm an alumna of Harvard College. I graduated in 1983. I worked at the Harvard admissions office for 3 years as an undergraduate minority admissions counselor and as an admissions officer for various regions around the country. And I also graduated from the business school in 1990. So I've spent a lot of time here on this campus.
How does it feel to be back?
Oh, it's great to be back. I had a really terrific experience here at Harvard. When I first came to the university, while there weren't many Latinos, there are many more today than there were certainly when I went to school. I found a really incredible community of Latinos from across the country who became the surrogate family for me. And really, we supported one another and made Harvard our own. And I thought that the great academic challenge of the university, and also to be surrounded by so many bright, ambitious, optimistic students, also had a profound influence on me when I was here.
Wonderful. The America Adelante focuses, part of it was on public policy and part of it focuses on the Latino narrative. In your position in Time Warner Inc., how do you help to invest and foster that next generation of storytellers?
Sure. Well, when we were planning the conference, a number of us felt really strongly that what we'd like to talk about was how can young Latino leaders begin to take ownership over the narrative of who is a Latino in America. That one of the things that's been incredibly frustrating for many of us is to actually see the way people talk about Latinos, but it's not told by Latinos, that we don't own the narrative of our community. And instead, the gross misuse of this is what you see certainly with some of the presidential candidates and with the horrible language around immigration and around Latinos here in the U.S. But I think it's an important task ahead of us. I think we need to have more storytelling, both on the big screen, on the small screen, in journalism. We need to see more people in front of the camera telling our stories. So the way that Time Warner invests in storytelling is actually in two important ways. One is that the foundation funds nonprofits who do a great job of identifying new and emerging storytellers. And one of the things that we did with the power of our grant making is to go to many of these best-in-class organizations like the Sundance Institute or Tribeca or the Public Theater, Second Stage, and go to them and say, look, you do the best job in the country of identifying the next generation of storytellers. We want you to do that, but we want you to emphasize diverse storytellers. We want you to really make a special effort to go out and find young people who will be the future screenwriters, showrunners, television writers, playwrights. Who are the people that are telling the story of people of color in this country? And so we began that about 10 years ago. And in that period of time, we have supported about 909 artists through the work of these nonprofits. Many are names you might recognize because they have since gone on to do their own films and to do their own documentaries. But it's a terrific cohort group of new voices out there that we think are important. And then the second way that we support new storytellers is by a new initiative that we just launched called 150, where we're directly supporting, this is through Time Warner Inc., not through the foundation, but we're directly supporting new young storytellers. You know, one of the great things that's happened with young people today is that while 25 years ago, maybe when I was in college, it was actually quite expensive to go out and make a film or to go out and try to do a new television show. Nowadays, really, you just should have, you know, if you have the latest iPhone and you've got the right backdrop, you can actually do your own stories and load them up on YouTube and potentially get audiences that are even larger than some network television shows. So we want to tap into that and make sure that we're supporting some of the best storytellers out there and give them the opportunity to really develop those stories a little bit further and hopefully give Time Warner the opportunity as a company to invest in them further. You know, there is an insatiable appetite for people with great ideas for films, for television shows, and increasingly for digital content.
Yeah, human beings have been telling stories since the beginning of time, whether through cave paintings or oral traditions. So in what ways can these stories and storytellers help make the conversations on public policy more accessible to everyone?
Well, you know, I tell people that, you know, during the civil rights era, the NAACP opened an office in Hollywood. And I think that that is a really important moment in history that that one should really look at. And it's because the NAACP understood that how African Americans were depicted in the media had a profound effect on how other communities thought about them and also about how their own community thinks about itself and thinks about its possibilities. And to me, this is why I think it's so important for Latinos to tell their stories, why it's so important for us to have a narrative out there that is not just a narrative about immigration, but it's a narrative about how we are very much a part of this country and contribute to this country in important and meaningful ways. You know, today we spend a good deal of time talking about the Latino narrative. You know, 93% of Latinos under the age of 20 are born in this country. And one of the things that's happened pretty dramatically is that from the time I was in college, where I came from a Latino community that was 2/3 first generation, we were immigrants in this country, to a community now that's a young community, a very young community that is primarily born in the US. And how we think about being a part of this country, how we engage as active citizens, how we decide to vote, all of those things are incredibly important, but we've got to see ourselves on the small screen, on the big screen, on your digital devices. Our stories have to be told because our young people need to have people they can look up to, that will motivate them, and that will really set an example for them.
As a leader and change maker, a Latina, many youth and adults look up to you. What are some of the challenges that you have had being a Latina in leadership?
Well, I think that I grew up at a time when, for many of us, I came from a generation where in my cohort group, from those that are a little older to those that are a little younger, it was a community of firsts. You know, I went to school with the first Latino Rhodes Scholar. In my lifetime, I've seen the first Latina on the Supreme Court. You know, Justice Sotomayor is just a few years older than me. We have seen the first president of the Ford Foundation, the first Latino president of the Ford Foundation. There have been so many firsts, the first Latino CEO of a Fortune 100 company, that my cohort group, my fellow Latinos have, I think, spent a lot of time opening doors, I hope, and paving a path for others to follow. You know, I think the importance of having a Black president is something so profound that for a young person today to look up and say anyone can be president regardless of race, ethnicity, you know, sexual orientation, gender identification. Like, to me, that I think that those firsts are important for the generation behind it.
Absolutely. In your career trajectory, what is one of the best pieces of advice that someone has given to you and helped you throughout your career?
Always go through a door when someone opens it for you.
Excellent. And in summary, thank you so much for your time. What do you edit? What do you see for the future of the Latino community?
I have to tell you that being here today and last night we had Joaquin Castro speaking at the forum, and it was filled to the rafters, as you know, and the students asked incredible, bright, insightful questions. And all day today there was an energy and excitement in the room. I can't help but feel incredibly optimistic. I mean, I feel like I was in a room today with people who are ready to be the next generation of leaders to really go out and affect change and to elevate our community in the next 30 years. I thought it was incredibly exciting.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you again to Time Warner's generous support of America Adelante. We hope to see you next year in more conferences to come.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.